And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 274. So I hope you guys had a great day and I hope you guys have a great weekend that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, we have no topics because I am disgustingly tired after just getting off of work. Basically, I was supposed to do a 8 p.m. PST to 4 p.m. PST shift. Then it turns out I forgot to read my text messages because my boss did, I'll give her credit, she did text me to go in at 10:30 to 7. But I didn't read that because I don't like reading her messages at all. Because
she
I
tells you
just
to go in 10 to 7. So it's like, I don't want to read that.
yeah, like just in general, people don't know. I don't like reading her text messages at all. So when she's like, "Hey, did you not get my message?" I was like, "Oh, wow," because generally speaking, in my brain, I don't like reading these at all, so I don't want to read them in general. But yeah, I did end up basically just waiting at work and just fucking starting at 10:30 to 7. It wasn't really that bad. I just basically sat on my phone drinking a caramel frappe as I just tweeted out things on Twitter. Actually,
Horrible, terrible things on Twitter.
so I know I said on the Cloud9 podcast yesterday that we would go over that Zelda live action controversy going on. I'm actually going to cover that potentially with Labs Comic Fan on Tuesday with our show because he's a big Zelda fan. So I was like, you know what? I'll probably just end up, saving that topic for him because he really, really wanted to cover it. We were going to cover it tonight, but barring, me getting off work and getting absolutely fisted at work and being disgustingly tired, Comics Dad was supposed to be the featured guest. His power ended up basically going out, and I told Warren, let's just start the show at like 8:39 p.m. PST, and that is kind of how we get to this exact moment right now after all of these events transpired. And Warren thought I would notice him wearing that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man cover t-shirt. Thought I wouldn't notice. People don't know. I that information up here. Yep, that is one of the best covers for a comic book of all time. Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a beautiful cover by Todd McFarlane.
So
this was his first Spider-Man issue cover, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but
or was it the Birth of Venom one where Venom's doing this to Peter?
I don't know for sure.
Because I know there's so many controversies with that time period. It was the who created Venom, then it was the Hobgoblin fiasco. Oh my god, man. And it's crazy that a lot of people don't actually know this about the comic book industry. Is that you guys have been basically, I don't know, consuming comic books by buying them and reading them in a way where you've just thought, oh, I've been buying these books for forever. That must mean the business side of things is doing great. No. When we start actually going through multiple topics in shows again, when I'm not astronomically just beaten down from life, you guys don't know, there's a comic book publisher out there that apparently is not going to be able to make payroll because Diamond Distributor, the previous huge distributor for the comic book industry, owes people so much money that one of the major publishers outside of Marvel and DC is not going to be able to make payroll because they're owed $1 million. Yes, not $100,000. They're owed over $1 million. And then Diamond also has been currently selling merchandise they were supposed to give to other people that they've already locked deals for. They've been selling it out the back door to Walmart's, Aldi's, and places like that. So yeah, comic book industry has been absolutely getting destroyed. Mad Cave Studios announces today they're making a few layoffs. Image Comics made some layoffs actually. People are going to have to get a different publisher. They're going to have to obviously go to Penguin Random House or the other one. Which is the other one? Fucking hell. I know it's Penguin Random House and someone else.
And Lunar. Lunar's the big one. Yeah, Lunar.
Yeah. And people have to consider this too. There's a smaller publisher named Antarctic Press that would basically be like that gateway to the mainstream for Niobe. Mike Barron was pushing out Private American in that too. Like you could just pump it out in a floppy. Well, Lunar and Penguin Random House, they're not going to take on all of these like less obscure, smaller publishers unless you're like name brand value, like Dark Horse or Dynamite or an Image or a Mad Cave. So if you're in that like Antarctic Press territory, well, you just kind of get shit out of luck, honestly, which is crazy because other companies like Advent Comics, they don't pay people. You know, like Valiant, they don't pay people. We've heard so many stories with those two companies specifically owing people money, not paying them for anything, not full-blown comic books, drawn and written, illustrated, lettered, inked, everything. You know, one of the guys I had on my Iron Man podcast said it was his dream to work for the mainstream, drawing on like Batman and Spider-Man and all those characters, that he did work for I think it was Advent Comics, actually, or one of them. There was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was them. And it came out that they haven't been able to pay people. And you've been basically doing work for free. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know why people would want to, subject themselves to free labor because you think that's going to be some sort of like gateway into another possible destination in the industry. I really don't think it works that way. I really think it works basically like, do you know? It's like not who, like, what's the old saying back in the business world? It's not about what you know, it's about who you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not who you know that'll get you there.
If they're big enough, like if Mark Millar comes to you as an artist and says, "I would love to have you write a short series or have you draw a series for me," even though he pays really well, there is something about having his name attached to your work. But at the same time, though, yeah, you got to get paid. When I first started, there was always dreams of like, oh, what would be great if I got good enough to draw Spider-Man or to do the Ninja Turtles or something along those lines. But as I get more and more into the business, I'm just like, I'll do better just doing my own thing. It's just getting out there and getting seen is my biggest hurdle. I don't know if I want to work for dirt wages for Marvel. I don't know if I want to do those things anymore.
Oh, we know what the wages are. We did a video, remember, about it? Or we know what the wages are, and the wages are. I mean, now, like essentially, if you're an employee, I'd imagine it's a little bit more better, but it's not that much better. There's no way, because
there's a certain amount of swag that you get from working for Marvel. Like if I
did followers will blow up.
Like if I did a 10-issue miniseries for Marvel for Spider-Man, then my name's going to get known. I can use that on my resume when I go to, like, if I go to a con and I'm like, hey, I drew Spider-Man, they might even like invite you as a guest to some smaller cons. So there is something to that. But at the same time, though, if you're the regular artist on Spider-Man, you shouldn't be working a full-time job on the side. You should have to be like scrounging to stay alive if you're working for one of the biggest IPs in history,
That's what I thought too. Like growing up, when I would watch those videos about all those famous comic book stories that came out and revolutionized and changed the industry, I remember watching one, I think, on Comics Explained, where he was doing a video on The Dark Knight Returns, and we know how big and influential that was on the industry when he came out. You would think like Frank Miller is a millionaire. You would think, right? Because I mean, Dark Knight Returns, like but I had to think about it because when I looked at the author scene, it was like that. Like J.K. Rowling made Harry Potter, famous, filthy rich. Other people made very similar, famous books, got very, very wealthy off of that. It doesn't work like that in the comic book industry world. Actually, the only people that make money are potentially like the people in the executive positions. Like even the editors on some of those teams probably don't even make a lot of money. Like then you have to question, why are people doing this in general? If everyone just collectively went, hey, this isn't worth it financially, when I'm making any money, I can't pay my bills. I have a 2-month-old baby at home, diapers getting filled up with shit. My wife, who's probably a communist, leftist libtard with blue hair, yelling at me every day, calling me a piece of shit as a man. Then you wonder, outside of just pure love for doing this, why do you do it? Then Marvel on their Twitter account will be like, we mourn the death of Peter David.
You didn't do anything for him while I was alive, but you mourned his passing now. Well, you know, like I don't make any I don't make any kind of money to live off of comic books. But I spend all my free time working on books. It's just because I love it, and I would do it. Well, I am technically doing it for free. I self-finance my own publishing. I have to go out and sell those things in order to make my money back, and I haven't made my money back since I started doing this. But I do it because I love doing it, and I'll always do it. It's just sad that I'd have to go like like if you want, like Frank Miller doesn't make money off of The Dark Knight Returns, but he becomes a name in the industry. So then when he does 300 or Sin City, it's like, hey, the Dark Knight Returns guy has his own book now. And I guarantee you he made his money back on Sin City or 300 because those were his created own properties. He doesn't own Batman. So there's that weird, in comics, there's that weird thing where it's like, yeah, you wrote Spider-Man, but you don't own Spider-Man, and they paid you to write that story. And as far as they're concerned, you got your money. You don't deserve any more of it. Like Stan Lee had to fight in court to get paid fairly. There's right now creators, like I believe you were talking about the
Wasn't
creator
it Jim
from
Shooter? Jim Shooter fought for creators to be fairly compensated. So like Rob Liefeld has the best deal that basically Marvel Comics has given now for you getting paid good off of your work getting printed in like a collection edition format.
Yeah.
Like even when you have like collected editions getting printed for a lot of people's work, like Ed Brubaker, you think like, damn, many times the Winter Soldier story has been printed, complete collection, epic collection, omnibuses. The first part of his run is all printed out, sold out completely. They just gave him a Marvel Premiere collection. He said he would literally never work with him again. Come on. Yeah. The guy that influentially made that Winter Soldier movie that you guys like in the MCU, which is you say is your favorite one. Yeah, that came from another person, and they basically treat that guy like pure shit.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, it's all greed, and it's all just jealousy. So, like, because they know this. Because when it comes to comic books, the only people that are cared about is the artist and the writer. So if you were, like, a editor that helped that person with their script, you're not going to get any credit for that. But this is the thing. We also don't know, when we also weren't in the room when these things were happening, where to the point it was like, well, who made these ideas? Because we know there have been editors that have really helped the famous writers get better at putting certain concepts in and telling them, hey, maybe this concept's stupid. Very famously, Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama sadly passed away last year, one of the best ever to do it. He had editors tell him his ideas were stupid, and he kept on improving. Very famous story. He had talked about originally the androids were going to be the end of it, right? Or with Dr. Gero and Android 19. The editor said, hey, the final villains are going to be some clown and an old man. Then he created Cell. And then he created Android 17 and 18. And he's like, wait, the final villains are going to be some punk, edgy teenagers? But he was like, okay. Then he created Cell. Then the editor's like, a green humanoid-looking insect is the final villain? Then he created Imperfect Cell. Then he finally got Perfect Cell, and he was like, oh, there was like, okay, I got you. Even Akira Toriyama had his editor help him. He gave him that nudge right there to make him improve, and he kept on improving. So, and I'll say this too. Hey, Chris Claremont, that guy wanted some weird shit apparently in X-Men at one point, but the editors were like, no, you're not doing that. There has to be a fine line, but I can understand from an editor's point of view, this writer's getting all this credit, and you may have been the person that told that guy, hey, your other idea you probably were going to go with is a bad idea. But then again, we will never know. It's just something that is going to be just the writer and the artist get all the credit, and anyone that helps to help the book, no one even knows exists, honestly.
Well, there's something interesting. Like okay, so you own an IP, right? You have MSK has its own hero comic book IP that you
MSK
want to do.
Enterprises. We
Yes.
ship worldwide.
Now you hire me to write and draw the book for you. So you pay me, and I agree for this amount of cash, and I'm going to write MSK's superhero, and I'm going to draw a book. Well, it becomes a massive success. Legally, you don't owe me shit because our contract was I'm paying Lunchbox Warren, $200 to draw this comic book, and he accepted it. Now, the fair thing would be though, if you're making tens of millions of dollars off your IP, to come back to me and say, hey, here's a check, a bonus. Thank you for doing that. That what Marvel's doing is kind of like, hey, you made us like, Chris Claremont defined the X-Men for years. It's like he should be getting, even if Marvel doesn't legally have to, they should be giving him kickbacks just out of a courtesy for creating.
Even if they were to ever do that, he would want to continue making X-Men.
He'd come back.
He'd come back in a heartbeat.
At all. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, Marvel, they treat us good. So we'll come back.
And
I'll
then
come back
he'll brag about that to other people, and then the people that he's bragging that towards would also want to go and work for Marvel. But Marvel thinks of it, and the people that run it kind of think of it like, oh, well, it's kind of like, we're the ones that made you famous. It was our characters that did it. This is essentially,
you should feel
privileged and honored.
Spider-Man. Yeah. And and Marvel's also too. It's not like they're making money hand over fist. Comic books are not doing great right now.
Comic books are probably a loss leader. It's like that trickle effect thing that Walter talked about. They're probably still thinking of it like, hey, if a movie does well, then maybe one of these lines will sell better. But I don't think that's true anymore. That has been true forever, honestly. Maybe back in the day that was a thing, which probably never was. I think comic books have just generally been a loss leader forever, and they only do it because if they were to ever collapse it, things that would just be awful. I think they're just indebted with doing this for life at this point. We know these books don't make as much as they used to, and it never did. The whole concept of how you make money in comics was always not a good concept to begin with. Like,
I don't know for sure, because like Marvel and DC, I could see that because they have parent companies above them.
Yeah.
So the parent company, like if Disney's or Marvel or Disney, I guess now, is like, it would cause too much trouble for our IPs if we stop making these comic books, so we're going to keep going. But when you look at like Image and like IDW and stuff along those lines, they're making some levels of profit to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's just those profit margins, they're not necessarily losing money, but they're just keeping enough money to keep the doors open. And also, too, I also wonder how much money they're making by farming those IPs out. Like, so if IDW owns Turtles, then do they get a kickback if Nickelodeon does something with the Turtles or stuff along those lines?
Like, maybe.
I don't know how all that business stuff works with IP ownership and stuff along those lines. Spider-Man, I don't see, there's a part of me that's wondering, like, what is the purpose of even keeping some of these books going if they're not making money? Like, why would Marvel even keep making comic books when they've got video games, TV, cartoons, movies? They can keep making their characters without comic books. Like, they don't it's all of a sudden kids are not going to stop watching Spider-Man if comic shops shut down, because most kids don't even know that Spider-Man comes from a comic book. Like,
that's such a status thing. Most people don't know this stuff actually came from source material. Like,
they don't know the source material.
What's crazy is people. We'll use Harry Potter for example. People know Harry Potter came from a book before it was ever a movie. Mostly everyone that knows that Harry Potter exists knows it came from a book first. But for superheroes, it doesn't work that way. The very first introduction for people like me, my first introduction to this stuff was the animated series stuff, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and X-Men. I didn't know this stuff was based on comic books because that wasn't presented to me. Like, even back in the day when Batman the Animated Series hit off, there should have been commercials saying, hey, if you love the hit Batman animated series, do you know what's even more worse with this? They had Batman animated series comic books. I own the omnibus. I have the trades. Why weren't there commercials saying, hey, we know you love this hit Batman animated series. Go and buy the comic books based on the hit animated series. So many missed opportunities. When Superman 1978 came out, hit movie, go and support your comic book shop by buying these books based off this character you know and love. So many good things you could be doing, you know?
Yeah, me and Laps were just talking about this the other day.
You talked to that Cloud Chaser?
I talked to that Cloud Chaser. We have to take Cloud Chasing notes.
I have to negotiate your contract. Maybe not give you residuals after these episodes.
What I was telling him was Marvel missed a huge opportunity with during their 10-year mega run. But with DC relaunching and with Superman doing good and the hype behind it, it's going to be interesting to see, because DC's pushing their books out everywhere. Like DC has their books in gas stations now. They got them in dollar stores. They got compacts in places. The DC compacts are doing great. I'm wondering if we're going to see finally a successful movies translates to better comic book sales, because DC has availability now. So all those young kids who went to saw Superman and loved it are now going to go to Target and see Superman a Superman comic on compact, or they're going to go to a gas station or a dollar store with their parents and they're going to see a Superman comic on the shelf. So I'm wondering if it's going to work.
As far as collected editions, I'm gonna, when I get paid, I'm gonna get Absolute Superman by Gary Frank and Jeff Johns. But the next one I'm gonna get is Absolute Also Superman, which is supposed to be based off the movie, but it's not. I swear to God, you guys, it's not. They literal lying bastards. Nothing. I guess if just Superman existed in the movie, I guess it's based on the book. But I've seen like Absolute Superman sell out in a lot of places online. Like that Absolute book I'm talking about getting. The person I always buy my omnibuses from, his sold out on Amazon. Not only just the trade, but the regular hardcover for All-Star Superman bumped up in value. Which is so crazy because the movie's not anywhere connected to that. Not even close.
They say it is, though. So these people don't realize it until they read it, or they're going to be like, "What the hell?" But this is what they're pushing. Like you see the actors talking about it. James Gunn talks about it. You see
like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I bought
the Supergirl book just because of the movie connection.
Yeah, I have it too.
It's a good book, though.
What's crazy, we should actually review that, because I know a lot of people said that it's like Tom King's best work. And keep in mind, I know about his Batman run because I have that Batman Ultimate Guide over there, and I've read his entire run, or the best parts about what makes it good. And that is also an understatement, because nothing about that run makes it good. But he did.
I didn't even know it was Tom King until after I read it, like the Supergirl one.
There's one thing in his run he did well. One thing. He made Bane this ultra mega super tactician, which I liked. I like when Bane's like that. I don't like dumb brute Bane. And Bane has that panel where Bane's sitting and there's a bunch of the villains are around him, and Bane's like, "It's done. The bat is broken." This is just one of the best lines ever in a comic book, in my opinion. But like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that's coming out, I would imagine that the comic book and the movie are not going to be super closely related at all, because that never happens. But I would imagine that there's going to be some elements of that book at least in the movie. There was, guys, I'll be honest here, I legitimately don't know why they said it was loosely based off all Superman, but people are going to be like, but they said loosely. There's nothing in. I don't get what you guys are saying. There's nothing in All-Star Superman that's in James Gunn's Superman movie. I think it's because he maybe just likes Grant Morrison and just wanted to give Grant Morrison credit on the big screen. If that's what he wanted to do, that's cool. I do truly think some of these guys should be praised on the big screen. If that's what he wanted to do, I'm all for that. I think all these guys that created all these stories, whether good or bad, should be credited on the big screen. You know, like Jerry Siegel and Joel Schuster, like episodes of Smallville when they had the intro were in big credits, characters created by these guys. I think that's awesome. But same thing with that Flash movie. It's based off Flashpoint. No, it's not. Not even close.
No.
If that was Flashpoint, man, show me where the dumpster is. That was trash, actually. Good Lord.
That's a huge missed opportunity, too, because we could have got the real Flashpoint. You know,
Oh,
we
we knew
could have
we
got a
were because
real.
remember Ray Fisher said he wasn't going to be in it because Walter Hamada something non. Remember that Ray Fisher
Oh,
drama? Oh my god! He said I have receipts, presents nothing, and it's been 4 years. So, good lord.
I don't understand why the hesitation to bring in Reverse Flash in the movie. Like they
Dude,
created.
were you here when people got on my case about MSK? We know it's Flash's first movie. Reverse Flash doesn't have to be in it. I was like, I'm not trying to be mean. But when you guys say dumb things like that, it makes my brain actually just want to escape my skull and run outside and get trampled over by a
Okay,
90
fine. Reverse
miles
Flash is
car.
not in it. Captain Cold, Captain. I mean, just give us somebody instead of the gobbledygook that we got.
Had what
It
Dark
was,
Flash, which was that was
yeah,
a bad
Dark Flash,
concept.
which was essentially Goofy Barry, who went back in time so many times he turned into Scary
Which makes
Barry.
no logical sense because how logically does someone mess up that many times? No one would mess up that many times. It's unless you're
Well,
literally that
the
stupid.
point was that it was a point that you cannot change. So no matter what you do, it is a hard point in time that, because sadly I watched the whole movie, but
Sadly, I did
anyways,
too.
it's like a hard point in time. So no matter what Barry did, it always was going to end up with Supergirl dying and Batman dying, and then that's where, until he went all the way back and then fixed the deal, and then Michael Keaton turned into George Clooney, and yeah, it was just terrible.
Like I'm just sitting here thinking, with a movie like that, like when people say, "Oh, but you didn't," what do you mean? First of all, I don't know if you guys know this. If that movie is supposed to be based off Flashpoint, you literally need Reverse Flash by default anyway. That's not an if, ands, ors, or buts. That's a you need him there. Second of all, last I checked, that Superman movie you guys just watched that you enjoyed, checks notes features Superman's most known villain, Lex Luthor, first. I think every Superman movie that started with him, live action, the first movie, started with Lex Luthor minus Man of Steel. The original 1978 movie started with Gene Hackman. Superman Returns has Kevin Spacey. This movie has Nicholas Hoult. The only first start to a Superman movie, live action wise, it didn't start with Lex Luthor, was General Zod. And that was
Yeah,
just Man of Steel.
and
Like,
that
I don't,
felt off as it was.
yeah,
You
it felt
know,
weird not having Lex there because
because
obviously,
Lex should be there even if he's not the main villain. He
yeah,
should
there should be
always,
some sort of
like,
presence. Yeah.
it's been weird not having Norman Osborn
Mhm.
in the Spider-Man movies. It really has been weird not having Oscorp flashing somewhere. You know, and I kind of, it's interesting because it's like Spider-Man, all these Spider-Man movies, like we got to see the Vulture, which was cool, and then Mysterio. But yeah, without having Oscorp in the background, just kind of, I don't know, just felt weird the whole time.
Like, I just don't get why they don't use him. Like, every big superhero movie that we've watched that started something, even the Tim Burton, Michael Keaton first Batman movie, I don't really like that one all that much. I don't think it's that good, but had Joker in it. Like, you have the reason why you establish the main villain first is because you want to establish that dynamic between the main hero and his main villain.
yeah,
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man started off for Green
stop
Goblin.
killing him off. Like that was the one thing I didn't agree with the Raimi run, and also the
Yeah.
Keaton movie was, or the '87 movie was, that I hated them killing off villains, because it's like you can keep using them. You know, just Norman Osborn in jail is a better than just killing him by spearing
Oh
him
yeah,
with
for
his
sure. Yeah.
sled. You know, why are we killing off Doc Ock? Why are we killing off Joker? Joker, the main continuing villain that should be there in like the end game of Batman. The Joker's going to be somewhere around, and you killed him off in the first movie. So it's yeah, I don't like killing off villains. I like them to stay alive. I like that Lex is still alive and in jail. That, you know, he'll probably be post bail and he could be out by for the next movie. But so yeah, it's I don't like seeing that stuff. Those older movies had their good points, But
it's weird because people literally try to actively justify that they shouldn't have used Reverse Flash, and it's like the movie actually demanded he be there, given the fact that they were using material from Barry's life that Reverse Flash definitely impacted.
oh yeah,
And keep in mind, if it was revealed that Reverse Flash did all that stuff, it would have made the movie better because it was already terrible as it is, but it makes it a little bit less shittier if there's a kind of some semblance of a thread tied in right there. Because that whole logic of, well, Barry saw his mom die and they blamed his dad. His dad literally wasn't there. His dad was at a store. They have security cameras. They easily could have seen him knowing he wasn't there. And they blame him when he literally physically couldn't have done it in that time frame at all. Just one of the absolutely worst written Superman movies I've ever watched in my life. Purely a pile of utter shit. And Sasha Callo's Supergirl was basically just Henry Cavill as a dude.
yeah.
She was literally just a dude Superman. Like, and keep in mind, she came from Days of Our Lives, a fucking soap opera TV show. I initially went, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. Who knows? No, it was awful. She was just there and didn't exist, and she got killed by a knife.
Yeah, the whole Snyder era of DC, they didn't do a good job with making their characters and fleshing them out. Like, I loved drunk, traumatized Supergirl at the end of the James Gunn movie because it's like that. Now I don't want Superman in a skirt. I want characters. Let's create individual. Every character should have their own differences based off their experiences. And you saw just kind of like you said, like Supergirl is just Henry Cavill or Superman in a skirt. We don't get any good villains, and villains help define or help define character heroes. So Flash needs a Reverse Flash, so we can learn about Flash. Batman needs a Joker. Superman needs a Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have these characters because the villains help define them.
I just couldn't get behind the logic of, but the movie didn't need him when it clearly did. It actually the movie literally clearly needs him.
Well, it needed a lot of things like
it also fucking hell, it needed a good script. So, what was that? You know that meme that they do on like Twitter? It needs like all these different XX things. Flash, the movie needed a better director, writer, producer, actors, actresses, the stunt doubles, makeup artists, everything. It needed just better everything. And James Gunn said that was one of the best superhero movies ever made. I feel like he only said that because he had just became the Kevin Feige of DC, and DC at that point needed some good press, and nothing he could have done would have solved that.
You can't go out and trash. Plus, there's a classy thing too. Like, you don't come in and then trash the people going out. You especially help out the team, and that's what he did. He's been a little bit more candid recently about some stuff from the past movies that I've seen in interviews. He might be getting a little bit of cockiness in his strides, and Superman's doing pretty decently. So yeah, it's you don't want to trash him as you're going out, because you could spend all day talking about how terrible. He's already thrown shots at Marvel, like when he's with his whole, the problem with today's movies is, I saw him. He goes, he doesn't believe in superhero fatigue. He just says, I just believe in really bad superhero movies. And that's what we've been getting, horribly written superhero movies. So, he's starting to throw a little bit more, but yeah, I don't blame him for saying Flash was the greatest superhero movie when it was an utter train wreck, because he's just doing his job.
Oh, another thing we should go over tonight, guys, is, so James brought this up when he dropped me off from coming to pick me up to give me a ride from when I got off of work. So I saw this yesterday. The reason why I didn't pay attention to it is because I didn't even like the first movie. So Mortal Kombat is like one of the biggest fighting game IPs ever made. It definitely revolutionized the industry and all that great Cinderella nonsense everyone always brings up when they talk about these things. I was never a fan. I didn't really care for it all that much. I was more of a Street Fighter guy. I was more of a Capcom versus kind of guy. Marvel versus X kind of guy. Mostly I'm Street Fighter. That's my thing. Street Fighter's me. Virtual Fighter to some extent. I have played Tekken. I like Tekken. It's very, very fun. Super Smash Brothers, love that as a fighting game myself. But Street Fighter, that's my thing. And no, I don't have hope for that Street Fighter live action movie. I think it's retarded. Guys, we don't look like these. Imagine who in the world
sounds terrible. Like,
who are you gonna get? Just but we'll just go take a random character. Let's take Ken. Who on this planet looks like Ken?
Well, they got Roman Reigns playing Akuma.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I don't got to convince me of anything.
Like, I'm done.
They casted that one cute girl as Chun-Li. I can already tell that girl's not fit for Chun-Li. Why can't these things just be animated? Literally, if you can't physically find people, if you can't find people that have these physical traits, you should just do it animated. Why Hollywood has this lesser than thinking mentality when it comes to animated movies blows my mind. Completely just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, there's something I don't know what the deal is that like spend all this money.
I think
on
it's for
live
kids.
action.
They literally think animated stuff is for kids. That's probably what they think.
Which is so weird because animated movies have a great turnover. They make good money, and especially with all the streaming going along. Why aren't we just getting a really great Street Fighter animated series, or a big, like you said, a big, huge Street Fighter movie? I mean, the Mario movie did great.
Why don't? Yeah, Universal wasn't Universal. It was Illumination or Universal. I think it was a collaboration of both. I think. No, Illumination is the company under Universal. Like Illumination, they didn't fucking go to make a live action Mario. Some things are better animated. Some things are just better live action. A Street Fighter animated movie would do perfectly fine. You don't have to find people that physically look like these guys. Why would you? Because you can't. There's no one that physically looks like Guile. There's no one that physically looks like E Honda. No one looks like Ryu. No one looks like Ken. Who the fuck looks like Akuma? If someone looks like Akuma in real life, I need you to call the police immediately. That guy's a demon. That guy's he's from hell itself. You know?
But yeah, the way animators going out, like imagine like doesn't have to be exactly like it, but the way they animated the Spider-Man Miles Morales movie. Spider-Verse, the way they animate that. I mean, you could do some great stuff. That K-pop Demon Hunters animated movie on Netflix that everyone's talking about has really good animation. I mean, there's no reason why it wouldn't make money either to do a Street Fighter animated movie. Like, I get Mortal Kombat because it's kind of, it's rated R. You can do it looks pretty cool if you do the story right. But Street Fighter, that just screams animation. To me, right? It would be so much cooler animated to see Bison and Ryu going at it, or the famous
it's not even just
grass field,
Yeah, it's not even the fact that animated Bison is better for it just as a medium. It's the fact that animated with these kind of properties can really exaggerate and show you how wild and crazy they are.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that live action can't, but I'm saying that the reason why certain things should be animated more than live action is because of just the way both mediums can portray certain things. I'd rather see Ryu and Ken fight each other in an animated movie, just going full balls to the wall, punching each other's teeth out, kicking each other in the face.
It's going to look so much better in animated.
Yeah.
The moves will look so much better, more fluid. You try to do that stuff in real life, and it just looks kind of, stiff.
It's always shaky cam trash usually,
for
the most part. Just, good Lord. Why can't we ever have nice things? Beyond me. Why can't I ever have nice things? But so you guys, I'm gonna take you to a back in the day. So we're gonna pull Barry can reverse time. Reverse Flash can reverse time. Sometimes he doesn't affect time. Just a weird thing they have a dynamic as characters. So let's pull a Flash. Let's reverse time. No, fucking hell. My references are off. No, I'm joking. Entertainment and banter is always fun. Okay, so let's pull a Flash. Let's go back in time. Even though we're not supposed to, because it's dark and disgusting in these time periods. 4 years ago, Warner Brothers announced to the world, because it was during this lockdown period, and to be fair to Warner Brothers, we didn't know how long we'd be in this lockdown period. They announced in 2021, I think it was early 2020 when we found out, hey, theaters aren't going to be open basically even at half capacity till 2021. We found out early in 2020 that Warner Brothers is going to, at that point, put all of their theatrically released movies day and date on HBO Max. Yep. Still to this day, one of the... Yeah, so it was Godzilla versus Kong.
Yep.
You had *Malignant*, the movie that was based off Serena Williams with Will Smith. I think it was King something. You also had, what else is there? That horrible fucking movie with Denzel Washington and Jared Leto. Just a whole bunch of movies came out because Warner Brothers were like, hey, let's take our theatrical release movies and release them day and date on HBO Max. Because they wanted to kind of, I don't know, I don't know the logic behind it. It was basically, I'm guessing this, guys. I'm purely guessing this. They wanted to essentially maybe push numbers for their streaming service because HBO Max had just came out and it really wasn't doing that well. It was doing okay, you know? And they probably wanted to have their cake and eat it too. They probably thought, oh, well, there's going to be a lot of people that'll go watch it in theaters, but then we could also cater to people that'll just want to sit at home and just watch it on HBO Max. But only a few of those movies ever did well, box office wise. And by well, you must also consider this, guys. Christopher Nolan hated the decision so much he left the company after directing how many movies for this company. Then they had to pay a bunch of actors and actresses and directors and producers back-end deals to release their movies on HBO Max, right? So they lost more money than they actually made doing this. It was a complete financial disaster because we know it was in 2020 because they paid Patty Jenkins a buttload of money to release Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max. And keep in mind, no one could go to the theaters really. And if you could, you were in a privileged position because most theaters were closed down. So she got a ton of money to release Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max. And then, you know, what's crazy is if the whole pandemic thing didn't happen, I kind of wonder what would the reception be on some of these movies if we had a chance to like go and see them freely instead of just being locked down. But I think that made the backlash for some of these movies way worse. Could you imagine a world where we went and saw 84 theaters live after liking the first movie? Oh my, you'd be like, damn, this movie is trash.
That movie would be getting just raked over the coals, you know.
And then she had the nerve to be like, yeah, we're gonna do a Wonder Woman 3. Yeah, that's what we all wanted. That's what we all wanted from you, was a Wonder Woman 3, obviously. So it started with basically Warner Brothers announcing, hey, we're going to put out movies, day and date release, early in 2020 when lockdowns were a thing, and we didn't know when we were going to get out of that. 84 comes out. I mean, these movies did well watch hour wise for HBO Max, and subscriber numbers went up. And then it came to this point where it's like, okay, you go see a movie in theaters, we'll drop it on HBO Max. And that came to be a thing. One of the movies that dropped was Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat came out. Now, Mortal Kombat was one of the movies I did choose to go see in theaters. I don't know why. I mean, I'd always known what Mortal Kombat was. I've had some friends that really, really liked it. So out of the movies that came out in theaters, I went and saw Mortal Kombat, Godzilla versus Kong, and I think that's it. I think that's all I saw, honestly. What else came out in 2020? Oh, the Snyder Cut also came out in 2021 too. Fucking hell, that was also a big boost for the numbers as well. But then this Mortal Kombat 2021 movie comes out. And this movie is ass. This movie is horrible. Acting is terrible. Dialogue is bad. Pacing is fairly missed and off-putting, honestly. The only good characters in it are Sub-Zero and the other character that people like.
The fight scenes were done well. That was the one saving grace. Well, not even a saving grace. It's like if you want to, you have to say something positive about Mortal Kombat. The fight scenes are pretty good.
Who's Sub-Zero and who's the other guy people like? Scorpion. Is it Scorpion?
Yeah, Scorpion.
The only characters done somewhat moderately okay was Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Outside of that Cole character they had, trash. That female lady they had as Sonya, she was God, acting, man, was so bad. That other guy they had, forgot, the one guy who was trying to be funny constantly. Jokes were
the
trash.
Australian guy? He was what the hell is the fucking character's name? Cable?
No. So his name, that was Cole you're thinking of. Kano was in the movie.
Kano.
Yeah, Josh Lawson. Just I couldn't tell you anything I really liked about this movie because based off the plot itself. So like this guy named Raiden comes out and he's like, well, there's gonna be this tournament and blah 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 blah. There is no tournament. So like it's so weird. You have a character professing something that never happened in the movie. It's just empty throwaway lines, hoping we just get a sequel. Now keep in mind, if we never got this sequel, that character would be telling you some bullshit. Hey, we're gonna go and have a tournament. Where? You keep in mind, these games are always based off tournaments. They're always based off like street fights. And there was really none of them. The special effects were kind of bad. There was like one fatality with the one guy, I think it was Sue something. He had got that fatality against that one character. Probably the coolest death in the entire movie. Probably the coolest scene in the entire movie, honestly. Everything else was just, man, I couldn't tell you something about this movie at all. I hated every bit of it. I'm sad I even fucking went and watched it theatrically. That was one of the movies I hoped I just sat home and watched on HBO Max, honestly. I risked my health going to see this.
I want to say it was a missed opportunity, but the problem was, though, is that when HBO decided to do, when Warner Brothers and HBO decided to do the launch of those movies, they paid the studio that created them the cost. They paid them money to do that. So the studios made their money back with almost zero marketing, because essentially the film was going straight. HBO was handling Warner Brothers was handling that stuff as the distributor. So that's how they got these sequels out of some of these movies. Mortal Kombat, I thought, was just absolutely terribly written when it came out in theaters. Mortal Kombat by itself, like you said, if there's no plague, Mortal Kombat probably would have been an epic failure. I would almost guarantee an epic failure. We wouldn't be seeing the sequel. We might only be seeing the sequel is because, essentially they had their budget paid by HBO so they could go on HBO Max. So it was like, because when I watched the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2, this is what the first movie should have been. Not some kind of weird prequel movie where you introduce some new character that I could give a shit less about. And for God knows what reason, you kill fucking Goro. One of the coolest villains in the movie or in the video game, and you kill him in the first movie with your throw-in paper cutter character that no one gives a shit about. Cole. No one gives a shit about it. No one. Like, he was barely even in the trailer. Hopefully he's not even in the movie that much. Hopefully it's like what the first one should have been, essentially Johnny Cage getting thrown into this crazy world. And for love of God, I love Carl Urban, but why Sonya and Johnny Cage end up getting married? So why cast a man that looks like he could be Sonya Blade's father? Like, I don't know.
They had that one Asian actor that was in The Dark Knight who played Liu. I know he was in there. And it's just such a weird, off movie. None of the cast had any chemistry. It felt like it felt like a prequel movie to something bigger they were setting up, when that's not what anyone would come to Mortal Kombat for. People would come to a fighting game movie to see street fights happening or interactions happening between characters that would lead to some balls to the wall action fights. Like, people aren't coming to this shit for well-written stories, because people, let's be honest here, most people don't even know there's lore attached to this. Like, when I was a kid, when I saw Street Fighter, I didn't know there was lore attached to it. I just thought there was characters fighting each other, beating each other's asses. There is actual lore between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Tekken and all that stuff. But let's be honest here, no one really knows that stuff. You would have to be some fucking snot-nosed nerd to know that stuff. But the lore probably would help with making an actual coherent movie. My thing with the Mortal Kombat movie is cast sucks, script trash, cinematography ass, special effects was ass, the characters' motivation stunk, the fucking, who that new guy was, Cole Booty Butthole Diddy Lover, trash. That Australian actress they hired was dookie shit. The jokes never landed. It was some weird, they were trying to be serious when I was like, I'm not taking any of this shit seriously. That's what the plot was. I thought this was a serious.
Well, it's a Mortal Kombat movie, for Christ's sake. I don't need you to spend the entire movie trying to explain to me why Kano has a laser eye and it's some kind of weird chi thing. No, just listen. We live in it's 2025. The audience is not that fucking stupid. If you tell me that this guy has a robot like laser eye, okay, fine. You don't need to tell me how it works. I don't need to have Jax just all of a sudden like get these weird like stick arms from monks, and then because of his chi energy or whatever the hell it was, they turn into robot arms. No, just give him damn robot arms from the army. I don't care if they're not realistic. You know what's not realistic? Chi turning sticks into metal. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, the black guy who has his arms frozen off by Sub-Zero magically has his arms. He has a robot arms attached to him.
Yeah, he gets taken back to the temple where they're protected because there's the barrier.
Yeah, that barrier.
The monks give him like these little robot arms, which that don't make any damn sense. And then as he's fighting with Sonya, I think she like a rock falls on her or something, and then he like tries really hard to lift it up, and then his chi activates, and then his arms turn into robot arms. And it's just like, why did you spend so much time when you could have just said he's a soldier, his arms got frozen off by this ice wizard ninja, and then just give him fucking robot arms. Like you just have big old American flag stamp on the side of him. Yeah, I'm back, Sonya, because I got robot arms from the army. Okay, that done. That's the plot of the damn video game. So yeah, I can believe that. I believe that. I believe there's an ice ninja, and I believe that there's a fire ninja. I believe in the electric ninja. I'll believe in the robot army armed guy. Yeah, I don't know. They're just trying too hard, and I don't think the director really understands the game that well. Probably never played it, so it's the whole idea.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Have Cage in the first movie was because he didn't like the optics of a white main character.
Oh yeah, they tease Luke. Luke is one of the main characters. Is Luke, right? Cage. Something?
Yeah. Well, the main character. Yeah, it's essentially Cole, but Luke is the main fighter because like the first Mortal Kombat movie is just a prequel. It's pre-tournament stuff that they had going on, and then they kill off like half the good villains of the fucking thing. It's irritating.
No, I remember just how bad it was. I remember I went and saw it. There were some moments that I laughed at. There were some, I had a packed. What's crazy is I remember when like going back to the theaters back in 2021, there was actually some packed crowds. It's weird. It actually diminished over time. I remember, if people don't remember, I mean, maybe that was just my experience, but when I went back to the theaters initially when they opened, there was some packed crowds. We had that Mortal Kombat movie sold out. It was actually filled. There was actually a lot of people. And I remember there were some jokes that landed. There was a few action scenes here and there that worked. But other than that, there wasn't really much there. I thought the score was really off, like shaky cam galore in the movie. I legit wonder how this even got a sequel. You guys are probably saying there's no way a movie that bad got a sequel. Well, this is Hollywood and this is Warner Brothers, and they've never been known for making good decisions basically at all in their entire company's history. So the Mortal Kombat movie, and keep in mind, marketing wasn't. I don't know the actual marketing number attached to this movie. This movie made.
I don't know if there was any because of the way it was released.
True. This movie's budget was $55 million. Let's just take these numbers for what they are. The marketing budget could be way higher. Who the fuck knows, honestly? This movie took in $84 million. Like, failure. If they had no marketing attached to that, that's not that bad, really. That's really not that bad.
What it doesn't show is what they paid them to take it straight to streaming.
Oh, also, you got to factor in theater cuts and all that stuff. They definitely didn't make any money making this. So you're probably wondering how this awful horseshit of a movie got a sequel. It did. It literally got a sequel. How? I literally no clue. By the grace of, I'm not religious, but God something. If God literally existed, that's why this movie exists. Because there's no way that dog shit ass movie should have a sequel. Out of all the movies to not give sequels to, for some reason, this has a sequel? This movie. Why? Nothing in that first movie warrants. Nobody who likes this movie. Who liked this? someone must have some dirt on someone. Because no one like this shit. So apparently, the sequel's coming out, and the sequel is coming out. When is it dropping? Sequel drops October 25th. So they have to start dropping the trailers now. They got to start promoting the movie. I don't know if the main cast is all returning. I know they're gonna have Johnny Cage. I don't know if Cole's back. Jesus Christ, that fucking dude. I know that Sonya's back. I know some of these casts are back, but like I'm starting to think to myself, what? Like I don't know. I have no hope for this at all. I could care less if this existed because I hated that fucking first movie. People were like, "Hey, the trailer this looks like a Mortal Kombat movie." Oh, you don't say. There wasn't one of those that came out before that one. What's so weird is they had a prequel Mortal Kombat movie before the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
So what the hell did I watch before? I don't know what I watched, but what I hate Hollywood. Stop. This is so stupid. Why did they make me watch that horrible, awful movie to get to this one? Why not just make this one first then? Whatever. I'm not watching this. If you guys choose to, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll watch it when it ends up on HBO 45 days after it gets to theater. So
45 days. You're too generous. This is 2 weeks. That's gonna be
2 weeks later. It's gonna be on HBO Max. I'll watch it then.
I actually. And then they're going to Street Fighter live action movie. Just kill me. Literally just dead.
Well, the casting I thought was fake. I'm like looking at this on Twitter and I'm seeing Roman Reigns cast as Akuma. And I'm like, what? No, this isn't real. No. And then I saw who they cast as Bison. And I was like, no, come on.
I was out from the casting. I'm done. I'm not even bother checking it out. You make this shit. Some movies like that you just need to make animated. No, you know what's crazy? Dragon Ball, the whole franchise, they never made it any more live action movies. Yeah, because it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to make that live action. Animated is completely fine. It's crazy how they animated. You know, it's crazy how the animated movies always get the praise, and that one live action one they made is one of the worst things to ever grace our planet. Yeah.
Wait till that My Hero live action hits from Sony.
But keep in mind, dude, we haven't heard any news about that ever since the announcement. Ever since the announcement itself, we've not heard any actual more news based off it. Even the Naruto live action movie, we've not heard. So the Naruto live action movie, they did give an update, but we haven't heard any more news on that based off that one last update. I'm not watching. Meaning, I ain't watching that shit. I'm good.
I'd rather
fucking slit my throat. Watch that trash. After what they pulled in that, people all bait and switch. One of the prime examples of a bait and switch is that Mortal Kombat movie. People are going there looking for a tournament. No, they're going to be a tournament. When? This movie? No. Next movie.
Well,
sure.
What are we here for? Oh,
we're here. What are we here for then? Yeah, I don't know.
We're here to kill off awesome characters and introduce new ones that you're going to hate.
Then they introduce that Cole character. Why? Who is Cole? Why should I care about Cole? We have some really cool way. He's like, my powers don't come out. They haven't come out yet. Throughout, literally doesn't get his powers until the end, like the middle of the third act of the movie. Due to how he survived.
Has an armadillo shell.
Yeah,
and like police batons, like an armadillo shell and police batons, and that's his superpower. Oh, okay.
All this
I can see why Cole hasn't showed up in a Mortal Kombat video game because no one fucking likes Cole.
Jeez, man. Oh, the whole movie's hyping up. Oh man, this guy Cole, there's something special about him. Gets his powers, and I'm just like, wow, that might be the worst way to.
Why isn't he a downloadable character on Mortal Kombat? Like, why isn't the video game?
Because the buildup was so cringe. I'm gonna be this powerful character. I'm training. I just have weird body armor and some batons.
No, it's like we ordered Johnny Cage and we got this weird guy from Wish.com. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So, today, Mr. Creepy Van Driver is launching a brand new Cyberfrog prequel comic book coupled with another shittier Heather Swain comic book where he showed off the art for it and it just looked absolutely just atrocious. The Cyberfrog other book is actually not drawn by him. It's drawn by someone else. So this new campaign is just basically 2 books in one with a bunch of like bullshit add-ons and everything like that. A calendar that's supposed to come out. EVS, a guy that can barely put out one book, wants to do a calendar. Just crazy stuff, right? Just let your mind settle with that itself, right? That line of thinking. So he went on Twitter. He blocked me because I said a joke in a Professor Savage Dad tweet. I said EVS's favorite snack was Nutter Butter. Yeah, the candy Nutter Butter. That's all I posted. That got blocked. I was like, all right, cool. You're getting blocked back. I'm good. And my timeline has been a lot more cleaner without this guy's tweets showing up, because this guy's tweets were just straight up cancer, honestly. Just horrible. And this guy basically wrote an essay for this guy, Dan Lawless, who literally is one of the biggest like EVS cocksuckers to ever exist on this planet. Literally, if EVS pulled his pants down, pulled down his underwear, bent over, got on all fours, opened his ass cheeks, ass spread, and told Dan to put his tongue in his asshole for free promotion on CG Kings, he'd do it. And we know Katie Dibb would do the same thing because she's a fucking disgusting, ugly whore bag. So, this was EVS's tweet. He said, a nice essay from the great Dan Lawless. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not because he gets on his knees and sucks you off constantly. Lately, I've been putting together my thoughts on CG and why we've been having so many issues throughout the years. Gee, I only wonder why CG's had all these issues. Gee, I wonder why. He says, I think it can be summed up in this way, that a number of people in CG have forgotten or never understood in the first place what a consumer movement is. Keep in mind, this is a guy that came after it was already built. This guy didn't make the jump until after it was built. Just want to make sure I put that out there. A consumer movement, as it pertains to CG, is simply a movement of people who are dissatisfied with the quality of the comics that are coming from the mainstream comic book industry. Well, that's actually changed now, because the comic books coming out are actually pretty darn fucking good. Well, for the most part, there's always going to be some stinkers here and there. But I would say the overall quality of comic books has drastically increased from when that narrative existed till now. Absolute Batman, I can almost just guarantee, is a better book than anything this guy's ever put out, and anything any of his colleagues ever put out, maybe minus Mike Baron. I'm not kidding. If you read Absolute Batman's pretty fucking good. You read Absolute Batman's better than anything this fucking hack fat piece of shit's ever put out. The solution to this problem should be a simple one. Seek out and find the best possible writers and artists that you can, and pay them enough money to produce their best work. This means finding qualified professionals, or at least people with a professional attitude that puts the needs of the consumer ahead of the needs of the creators. First of all, this is retarded. The point of indie is to find obscure people that haven't got those chances. Who's a professional in the indie scene? I mean, there's professionals. There have been. There still are. But I always was under the mindset that we should probably find undiscovered talent that also can be like a Jim Lee or an Adam Kuber or Greg Capullo or Dan Mora. You should be able to find those people in the indie space, because those would be people that are able to be funded by you for how much money you could offer them per page or whatever. You know, like, I don't know, like, people that can afford to do crowdfunds on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You guys can afford professionals? Oh shit, fucking hell. I didn't know Dan Mora was drawing our books. God damn, stop the madness. Hey, Warren, you got Dan Mora you got Dan Mora drawing your book? God damn, man, crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, geez, I didn't know we had fucking, God forbid, like Ed McGuinness drawing our books. God damn. The problem with Marvel and DC is that their creators have put their needs ahead of the consumer. Okay, that I can agree with. That's fair. They inject their politics or their social engineering or self-inserts and really don't care what the readers think. Okay, that's probably the only thing he's said truthful in 10,000 years. Now I'm seeing that same destructive attitude creeping into CG. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, kill me. Can you help my brain not die tonight? What is this? Why? There's some creators that are very angry that their books are not being promoted or backed, and they openly speak out against the professionals being in their space, claiming it has been taken over by them. These creators who resent the professionals claim that CG is their space and that they created it. and that the professionals aren't welcome here. Well, the professionals never came over initially up front. They came actually much later. If you look at the original group, I think that one of the few professionals was Mike S. Miller that came in initially first. I think. I could be wrong. In saying these things, they're making the same mistake that Marvel and DC made in that they're putting themselves as creators before the needs of the consumer. No one reads the comic books here. No one reads these books. What the fuck's these books being read by? News to me. The job of the creator is to serve the needs of the consumer. Well, you aren't doing that. You have unfulfilled campaigns out the ass. And never the needs of the creator. The only thing the creator should be asking is, if I put my book on the shelf next to Batman or Spider-Man or Hulk or Thor, would it be as good? No, it won't. Just saying, no, it won't. There's no way an amateur's book is as good as those. Even those on their worst day is better than anything an amateur can put out. Just saying that. Or better than those books. If not, then they're failing to meet the needs of the consumer, and the creator should go back to the drawing board literally until they've come up with something that can. This is the attitude that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had, and every other creator who built the comic industry. You know what's also crazy? The people at Marvel and DC, Marvel literally tried screwing out Jack Kirby. The same tactics that he talks about Marvel and DC did is what he does to people. They always put the consumer first, and that is why it was such a big success. They believed in the consumer movement, and they served it faithfully. If their attitude was to serve themselves, they would have failed. In the same way, if there's a self-serving attitude in the creators of CG, the consumer movement will fail. Keep in mind, I don't believe for a second that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all these famous guys didn't at some point think like, hey, if I'm doing all this stuff, I'm going to get rewarded. But you saw through their actions that a lot of them went the extra step and mile for creators like, who's that famous Batman artist and writer, Neil Adams? He definitely went above and beyond for people. I'd imagine he thought in the back of his head he's going to get something for it, but who knows? If you're out there attacking professionals who are in CG producing top quality professional work that can compete with Marvel and DC, nothing Shane Davis, your friend, can do competes with Marvel and DC. John Malin doesn't do that either. The only person that maybe can do that is Graham Nolan and Mike Barron. And I haven't bought nothing from Graham Nolan in CG. None of that shit looks interesting to me. Mike Barron, I have bought stuff from. You're not on the side of the consumer. You're only serving yourself. And keep in mind, you're going to say the professional's work is top quality because you're their friend. That's not biased at all. You're only serving yourself, and as a creator, you will be destined for failure. Oh, damn. 7 unfulfilled. If a person has 7 unfulfilled campaigns, what would you call that? Some would say that's a failure itself. However, if you believe in serving the consumer and you care about their needs, you should want the absolute best that can be provided for them. Yeah, Ethan, putting out your books on time will be the absolute best thing you could provide for the consumer. Crazy how that logic works. You should support the comics that can be competitive with Marvel and DC comics. None of these things are going to be competitive with Marvel and DC. All these best comic book creations that have ever existed have already been made. I'm just saying. And all that stuff is massive staying power. Nobody in CG is taking over beating Marvel and DC. Like even even Eric's books can't do that. But that's not the point. The point is to carve out your own fan base and build up your own shit. That's the point of why you should be doing this. That is the only road to a successful movement. We need to get out there and remind everyone that it should never be about the creator needs, only the consumers. Then why do you have unfulfilled campaigns? If I'm to believe anything in here is true, which I really don't, I think it's a load of bullshit.
Well, this is propaganda. This is essentially what this Dan guy's saying is that
that's what Ethan's saying.
This Dan wrote this.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Dan wrote this, and Ethan likes it because essentially Dan's saying that you can't criticize the CG professionals because the CG professionals are putting out stuff that's fighting the good fight, and they're the front line. So they it's just a bunch of dick sucking type kind of bullshit.
What's crazy is I actually agree with this guy, and I don't even like this guy. Backfire is a fucking loser. He's saying this. Marvel and DC don't suck right now. I'd say DC doesn't suck. Marvel minus let's just be generous here. 5 properties in Marvel are decently right now for ongoing titles. Marvel and DC don't suck right now. Many indie artists have missed their window. You're not competing with Tom King's feminine Batman anymore. You're up against absolute Batman. Up your game, or recognize that you don't have what it takes and throw in the towel. I would never say to never try. That's what a loser says.
Well, you don't get that good unless you work at it.
Yeah.
So you're going to be bad.
Yeah.
Until you get to be good.
And this guy says, and in a few years, absolutely will be over and Batman will be getting married again. Absolute's not going anytime. The Absolute universe is not going anywhere anytime soon if the sales numbers stay the way they are. I know they're not. That's not how this generally works. But for the right now, in the life we currently live in this timeline, it's not happening. Sure, but in the meantime, I don't need an alternative to mainstream comics that are perfectly good. Yeah. Not only, I'll even just back him up. I don't even like this guy. He's a fucking loser. Collected editions from DC have gotten better. They've released compact comics. Marvel releases epic collections more. Like, just being honest here, what is CG competing with? Like, I don't really know what CG is competing with. What do you compete? No one even likes CG, for being completely honest here. They have a few select fans.
Yeah, CG only sells to its audience. Like, it's a little audience. It's pulled in. People outside of CG are not usually buying CG. So, well, I mean, there are exceptions, of course. Mike Barron, he has a whole fan base, and not all of them are CG. He hops kind of all over the place. And I'm sure Ethan has some collectors out there that aren't CG that buy his stuff. But for the most part, CGers are selling to CGers. But it's so stupid because it's like there's sections of CG they don't even create comics. Their entire career is shitting on Eric July. Like this coming from people who spend all their free time shitting on other creators. It's like, who are you to tell me
he's talking about how people should treat professionals, and he's talking about like the way that professionals should be perceived from.
Well, why don't you fucking act professional then?
Yeah,
don't act professional just when you have a campaign out.
Yeah,
that you're hoping to God does really well, and it's like, he was complaining. He's been gaslighting this is just a shit ton of gaslighting. Like, he was gaslighting his followers.
He's basically telling you if you're a smaller creator, or let's say he's basically telling you if you're a up and coming indie comic book maker, let's say, that you should be more respectful to professionals. Keep in mind, that is not how respect works. Well, respect works basically off this premise that, hey, I like what you've done. I respect you, but that doesn't mean I have to respect you as a person. I don't know where he gets these things confused a lot. If Billy, this never happened. But let's say Billy Tucci cussed me out one time on Twitter. I don't have to respect that guy or like the guy at all.
What he's saying more directly here too, if you're not a CG king, so if you're not a professional like a CG king area, and you're lower level CG, you have no right to criticize them. Don't ever criticize them. Shut up, promote his work, and do what he says. That is essentially what he's telling you in that post right now. He's telling you that he is a professional. The Kings are professionals, and they are
worshipped.
And you need to shut up, and you need to follow them. Because if you don't follow them, and you don't support them, and you don't promote them, then you are against the cause. You are against the consumer. It's gaslighting, and it's all bullshit.
He said,
that's why I don't join any of these groups when I make comics.
The only thing Dan said here that was true
because all of this is so much bullshit. Like, this is all cult.
Yeah, except like this.
Bullshit.
Outside of this, but keep in mind, even this, everyone knows this by now. Everyone knows that they can potentially do this in Marvel and DC. They have stories where it's just injected identity politics,
which
i.e.,
they're
Gail Simone
stopping
and X Men.
more. I mean, it's still there, but it's a lot less. Like that's why DC and Marvel are getting better, is they're starting to go back. DC faster, but like with Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man's the shit. You know,
because I know we reviewed 2 issues of Ultimate Wolverine, and I was looking back today on those videos that we did because I uploaded them. Damn, that book was so damn good. I can't wait to go back to reading that shit.
I've been still picking them up. It is a great series. I love it.
Ultimate Wolverine is better than anything these guys have put out. I only read 2 issues, and I know that shit is fucking cum buckets. This shit is so good. And this is the other thing that I really hate when people like Dan say these things. The only thing creators should be asking is, if I put my book on it, this is why the industry is the way it is. These people think in this old mentality. And this is just automatically, your random buttfuck nobody book next to Batman, Spider-Man, Hulk, or Thor is not going to sell. Do you want to know why? Because it's never going to be considered in people's brains. It just isn't. The best way for you to sell that kind of thing to someone is, obviously, now that the internet is more bigger of a thing for people to do shows like these, you can do that. You build up your own audience. There's other platforms out there like Substack and do all that stuff. I don't get this logic. Hey, if I next to hell, okay, so let's use directors. So if I'm an upcoming film director and I make a movie and I put it out in the same week that Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg put out movies, would my movie be seen? No, it obviously fucking wouldn't. What kind of logic is that? That's like, man, would I be known if you sat me next to Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, Denis Villeneuve, let's throw in like Jon Favreau then, and people, would I be seen next to these guys? No, you wouldn't be. And that shouldn't be on your mind. Competing with Batman and Spider-Man is nonsense. You're never going to beat them, ever.
Dan has literally just told probably 95% of CG that they shouldn't be making comic books right now. That's essentially what he told them, because like you could argue a couple of the Kings would meet this standard. I don't believe in this standard, but that Dan has essentially put down a standard, because no one in CG's sales
and no one in
the area of what Batman, Spider-Man, or Hulk comics
and what CG book is on a shelf. I mean, the only one that I remember was on a shelf was like Mike Barron's Private American when Antarctic Press was pumping that out.
Well, that's the thing too, is none of them are being put in on shelves right now. So yeah, it's that whole thing. It's like, it's not necessarily they don't have to be on shelves. They have to be good enough. Essentially, if you put them up next to each other, then the quality matches, or one is, theirs is better. Which arguably, I don't know. I can't. It's like, yeah, he's literally telling like 95% of CG that they shouldn't be making comic books right now. They should go back to the drawing board. Does this guy even make comics? I've never even heard of this Dan dude.
Dan, he's a artist, illustrator, pinup kind of person, from what I know. That's the only thing I know about him, really.
Oh, he does pinups? Okay.
Oh, yeah, he does stuff like this.
Oh, okay, I got you. So he's an artist then. So yeah, okay, I get what you're saying.
But my thing is, they're never gonna have a person like Narwhal come up talking like this. Yes, you should have a realistic approach, but you should also have that bit of like, hey, someone like Narwhal got a gig with Mark Millar, making pretty good money off the book he's doing right now. He's going to have more books in the future because Mark Millar takes care of his artists very well, right? Yeah. They had people here that had good quality work. They ran them all away. Well, Ethan did, and Shane did, and John did, actually. They ran them all away. Yeah. And keep in mind, this mindset you could ever compete with Marvel and DC is ridiculous. It's just because if Marvel and DC, let's use DC. If DC put out an animated movie on the most random, obscure character, that would gain that character more fans than any book in this movement, because people naturally become fans of this stuff through movies and TV shows over comic books. And none of these guys could ever put out an animated anything, live action anything for any of this stuff. So the broader scope of how they're going to be able to get, fans is only the scope of just comic books. And keep in mind, how are you going to convince that person that your indie comic book is worth picking up next to Batman and Spider-Man. Well, if you're not in a comic book shop and you just kind of sell it through building up a YouTube audience, it's like niche of a smaller niche and the lower part of a niche and then in a niche. And I'm not saying people shouldn't try. I'm not saying people shouldn't go out there and make comic books. My thing is, Marvel and competing with Marvel DC shouldn't even be on your mind. And the thing is, you're not, but it shouldn't be on your mind anyway. You shouldn't be trying to compete with that. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. But when it comes to this whole professional thing, like, do you have to worship the professionals in CG? Keep in mind, some of these guys didn't even originally appear in CG. A lot of them came in when it was already established, when there was money to be seen you could make here.
And apparently, professionalism is only quality.
And that's also debatable too. Like, what quality we were speaking about?
Yeah, he's the needs of the consumer. Well, what about the needs of the consumer receiving what they paid for? What about the needs of the consumer not having to worry about being berated? How about the professionalism of the trash casting and the constant attacks and the whisper networks and the sneers? Like, where is the professionalism of attacking small indie creators and calling them slurs? I mean, all of this whole Dan Lawless guy is just he's like B.A. Turner, where
God, that guy's insane.
They put on these really rose-colored glasses and they portray this picture that everything that they're doing is just, and everything Ethan does is just, and CG is just, and we're all everything that we do, and then they try to weave these big old fancy heavy worded tales in order to justify this whole thing. Just comes down to leave the kings alone. They're professionals and none of you have a right to talk to them. And we know we are only about the needs of our consumers. So if we're 5 years late, it's not because we're not screwing over the consumer. We're just delivering a high level product on there. If I'm not doing head sketches because I'm just tired of doing it, even though you paid for them, well, I'm doing that for you because I'm going to make sure you get the best quality of this. So you just keep giving me money and I'll get to when I get to, fulfilling your stuff. But I'm going to be too busy spending all my free time when I should be working on your stuff, blasting people on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this correlates to EVS because he got this from Dan, from what I'm thinking, right?
Well, yeah,
and Dan's talking about like serving the creators. And Dan's talking about serving the creators while worshiping EVS, who has many unfulfilled campaigns.
Yeah, this is just a love letter and just justifying all of the bullshit going on. And Ethan's been kind of on this really weird track because he's been getting ready to launch this campaign. And he's 30 days left. He's like 76,000. And
we know it's not going to be 30 days left. We know it's going to be 2 months extended.
Well, he does. I think he keeps it open after it closes. Indiegogo allows you to do that. So
yeah,
and he already met his goal. His goal was only $500. Mm-hmm. So he's already met that, no problem. And but
that's just a little deceptive on his part.
Well, he cleared
that he's not looking just for $500.
Like he's at 70 on the first day.
Ethan, let me see. I don't know the numbers.
Everything slows down after the first couple days. So where's he going to end up at? Is he going to break 2,000?
These have to have less backers because this was okay. So this launched today. Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog Universe prequels, and this is the Cyberfrog meets World #1 is drawn by someone else. I'm pretty sure it's written by Ethan, but it's drawn by someone else. And that Heather book had that awful, awful, awful art that you guys saw some months ago that we showed. Terrible fucking art. He knows he couldn't just sell that to you in a single campaign. Keep in mind, Rainbow the Brute, not done. Cyberfrog 3, not done. Hellfant, not done. Fearsome, not done. Rainbow the Brute, action figures. He launched action figures for a comic book that was already 5 years late.
And he won't fulfill the action figures until he finishes the book. So if you ordered the action figure, you're not going to get it till the book is done. And he already said the book is not going to be finished by the end of this year. Mm-hmm. So, you're not going to see Rainbow the Brute to the very earliest of this time next year. But that's, who knows actually what's going to happen with that. This book here shows fulfillment on December 2026, but from what I understand, it's probably almost
December 2026.
done.
So in Ethan's timeline of our lives, that means 2036. Just playing it out there. 2036.
Yeah. Well, this isn't drawn by him, so it might actually get done quicker.
Who knows? That's actually a very good possible. But people also kept telling him, hey, if you're slow to draw stuff, just hire an artist. He was like, no, but my quality. It's like, shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Nope. That Discord is trash, and I would never hang out with fucking losers. Love you. So, right now, currently, this has $79,194, 701 backers. Also, people can back multiple things with Indiegogo's different than Kickstarter. So on Indiegogo, you can essentially back multiple times when you do the whole tier things. And didn't he call Yellow Flash's book a failure when it only was taking in like 60K in like a day or two?
Yeah, something like that. Well, they were saying that if it was on CG, his book would have broke 100,000 the first day.
24-hour variant covers, stupid gimmicky bullshit. Just dumb. Like, some of these covers aren't like Ethan can draw. I would never say he's a bad artist per se. I'm just gonna not be supporting any of this. I would never support this stuff anymore. I'm good. This is probably the best piece right here. That still is kind of cool, but trading cards and all that gay shit, like no one wants that stuff.
How many pages are the books? They say.
Okay, let me see. So the Diary of Heather Trash. Okay, so 32 pages for 1993, The Diary of Heather Swain.
Okay.
This Cyberfrog book right here is 64 pages.
Okay, well, that's a little bit better.
Also, keep in mind, when anyone even gets these, let's say they do get these a little bit faster. Anyone going to read them? No one reading this shit.
You don't hear many people doing, talking about. Well, I'll be 100% honest with you. If you go through indie comics social medias, you rarely hear anyone talking about anyone else's books.
Yeah,
like someone's book who's so good, where there's stuff to stop and say, "Hey, have you guys checked out this book? Because this is so good." Because the truth is, a lot of indie artists like myself aren't reading much indie books because we don't have the money to pay for $25 floppies.
Oh, look, and this one I forgot. Ultra Cyberfrog warts and all oversized hardcover. You know?
Yeah.
So we have Ultra Cyberfrog, Rainbow the Brute, the two of those, Fearsome, Hellfint. That's 5. Cyberfrog 3, and then you have that Master Racers one that launched on Fun by Comic.
Yeah.
When is this going to get fulfilled?
Warts and all got 1,052 backers.
Yeah.
What did Cyberfrog 3 get?
Let me see. Give me 1 second. When does it say it ends? When do these things say they end? So this concluded. Oh, it still says in demand. They always keep the shit in demand.
Yeah, in demand so they can keep making money on it. Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense, especially if you're trying. He's living off this stuff, so he needs to make.
He needs like $79K to pay that vehicle he recently bought. He even says he YouTubes for a living. That's his job, is just being a YouTuber.
Well, yeah, he makes his money on trash cans.
But I thought it was a problem being a YouTuber because he criticized FNT people for being YouTubers.
He's more of a do as I say, not as I do.
Right. Rules for thee, not for me. I forgot about that. Yeah. And that fucking sucks. That book looks like trash too. No wonder that shit did not fun. Cyberfrog was Cyberfrog 3? No. That's Cyberfrog. I forgot. On Indiegogo, they've shadow banned a lot of these campaigns. You can barely ever find them.
They're hard to find.
No, I know I can find it if I look. Let me just go under his name.
Yeah, under his name's the best way.
Dude, like this is why no one likes this platform.
Indiegogo's search engine is terrible.
You just go view profile right here. Let's go. Goodness, campaigns. Jeez. Internet, go faster. Look at all this stuff. Cyber, all caps comics, Cyberfrog merch, Dark Harvest. This one did fulfill. Technically, I don't know if everyone got their books, but this one was.
That was his last one, his last Cyberfrog comic to fulfill.
Yeah, it's the one where people got it, where they said it was just a bunch of pinups and a preview for.
Oh, that was that really short one. Yeah,
yeah,
that was like it was like 12 pages or something like that. There we go. How many backers he? So he had 7,390 backers.
Keep in mind, when he did launch this was when he was still friends with Eric July, and people didn't utterly detest this guy at this point.
And this was also this is August 3rd, 2023. So my point is that when I look at the backers, it's like, how many of those backers were first day, and how many backers total is his newest project going to get? Because like right now he's like at 701 backers. So like, does he still have the 7,000 backers in him? Is his fan base shrinking? He says CG's fan base is growing. So his project should be, how many people actually are going to back it? How many people are going to? And here's the thing too that happens. Joe Badura did Battle Chasers 1 through 9. Battle Chasers 10 came out and it was under Lubo something else, a really, really good artist, but he's not Joe Mad. So people were buying it because Joe Mad drew it. How many of those 7,390 backers are not going to come back just because EVS's art is not in it, except for like 2 pages? You're not counting the backers who aren't going to come back because they're still waiting on other stuff and they're pissed, and they haven't got their stuff. So it'll be interesting to see where the book ends up in 30 days.
And keep in mind, this is also still in demand.
Oh, yeah. So you could still pay.
Let's look at updates. When did he last update this? January 5th, 2025. Guys, this is July. This shit is in July. Jeez. All right. So discussion. Let's go to discussion. Still waiting for an email telling me my Dark Harvest book has been shipped. I hear there's a 2026 calendar coming due to be shipped in 2099.
Refund 1 week ago.
Estimated delivery of December 2024. I would like a refund. Dash, you're not getting that. Hi there. Could you please please refund my contributions? 6 months since the last updated post. 10 months since the last update that was actually about this book. Why? Can we please get a Cliff Richards cover? Post here if you're never supporting this lazy bum again. 2 weeks ago. I need you. Listen what he said. I need your continued support. Cyberfrog is worth your money and worth your time. I would appreciate it if you stood by me. This was 2 weeks ago. He literally is begging for your money. So this guy has to be hemorrhaging money in some different places. Literally right here, 2 weeks ago, begging for money, begging for support.
Well, he's got to keep his, pay house, property taxes.
He could get a job. Fuck.
Kids, family. He just,
Yep. I miss the days when your YouTube was about comics, not drama farming. Comicsgate Kings, all about comics and art. Not true. It's not true. Yes, the Comicsgate Kings is not about drama, as he literally had a massive fight with Dan Fraga on it like a month ago. Really? Just flat out lying to people. Just holy mother God, make this a little bit bigger. And you have the drama there now, talking about Fraga and Mike Miller. Going back and forth, and instead of just saying, "Hey, you're right. I'm sorry. I won't do it again."
Yeah,
shit like that. Can we get a Dan Fraga cover? Okay. Oh God, someone wrote a lengthy paragraph. Please do not ship my purchase to me. I give up. It's been almost 2 years since I backed this in 2023. I don't want it anymore. Keep the $40 for the non-existent comic that will never be finished. Have fun with your YouTube career. You seem to enjoy that more than being a comic book artist. You are a great artist and a great online personality. I loved watching a few years ago, me and my DOG, but you do not produce comic books anymore. I wish I had this in my hands, but it doesn't exist. You cannot deliver something that doesn't exist. Shipping fees alone on 7,300 plus orders is likely going to be in the 75 to 150K range on this campaign alone, and would likely take another 6 months just to package up and ship the orders. Yes, yeah, like, good lord. Just go under any of these campaigns. Just watch all the cinema here, actually.
That's why Dan Lawless, whatever his name is, post really doesn't mean anything, because you got people demanding refunds, you've got unfulfilled promises, you're constantly acting in a very unprofessional, attacking manner everywhere you go. You literally have a show called The Trash Cast where you have attacked creators that barely break 30,000, and you have no problem just trashing them. You have no problem attacking people that you supported the week before just because they disagree with you. Yeah, if the whole thing is just nonsense. If people that disliked CG just stopped paying attention to CG would disappear probably within a year.
Mm-hmm.
They drive so much just off of reactionary from drama farming that they'd probably just end up disappearing because people just stop wanting to hear them talk, stop reacting to stuff. There's some people on Twitter whose entire day is fighting CG.
Especially, I like his post, but his entire timeline is fighting CG. Geeky Borders.
Oh yeah,
Day.
Geeky Borders. I like his post too, and I read them, but at the same
I like
time,
the guy, but god damn is
good lord, man! Like
his entire account is just dedicated. His account might as well just be now renamed to posting EVS's L's.
just EVSLs. Just change the name up. Just because it's all day long. It's like there's another one who defends EVS, or not EVS, but Eric July, Enlightened Fan. I'm like, did Eric save your life? Like, do you have his kidney or something? Like what happened?
Like, he'll say things like ISOM number 1 is actually good. I think 1 is better than 2, but ISOM is one of the I've read a lot of comics at this point in my life now. ISOM 1 is one of those comics where, like, I didn't hate it when I read it. There was things that I didn't like, things I enjoyed, but it's not something I remember very well that much now.
Yeah.
I would say that in the grand scheme of things, it's one of the comic books that would kind of fall under just kind of meh, honestly, for just everything I've read. I even think the company released better stuff after ISOM, honestly, because you grow and all that shit. Like, yeah, Enlightened Fan, holy god, that guy goes insane. Oh my
more
god.
power to him, and him or her, and they are an ardent supporter of Eric July, and you have those kind of fans, and Eric and EVS both have created fan bases that are very protective of them, and but if you put up EVS and Eric July up in levels of different categories of professionalism, Eric July is going to get more check marks than EVS does. Just plain. Eric July is not creating drama farming trash casts right now. He does political stuff on Twitter every once in a while, but that's it. He delivers books. He fulfills campaigns. He keeps, he's consistent.
But hey, there's gonna be another Rainbow the Brute coming out. Mindy and Mike are gonna do Rainbow the Brute. Okay, so that'd be kind of funny if they dropped their Rainbow the Brute book over Ethan's first. That'd be funny as hell. But gonna wrap it up here because I do have to get to bed in a little bit here. I got to get some stuff done. Warren has to head out in a little bit here. But yeah, man, anything else you want to say before we head out? Actually,
just catch me this Sunday on my YouTube channel. I'll be drawing some more of issue 4. Just get pages knocked out of that. So and follow me on my socials.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, a motorcycle. Vin Diesel's outside again.
It's all about family, MSK family.
I also heard from the grapevine that Warren and Laps collab with each other.
We went on it. We streamed together. You stream with other people. You don't see me getting mad.
Oh God, I'm a jealous ex-wife. Oh my God.
Jeez.
God, he went to a cloud chaser and got paid. He made his day rate over there more money than he make over here. Crazy. No, tomorrow, pending on the mood that I'll be in, which I should be in a pretty decent high spirit mood, because I'll get off work early enough to take a nap, then I can do the show. Tomorrow we should have an episode of the Cloud9 podcast, and I should have that one-on-one with that other guy that I met through Twitter. Sunday, probably just like stream League. If anything, I don't know if I'll be playing Master Duel with James this Sunday because he's busy working on something that he's going to end up launching on this channel, actually, when it's done and ready to go. Honestly, I'm pretty sure you guys know what it is if you do know him. So, yeah. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show, and we'll see you guys later.